Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular.
American Fiction is based on the novel Erasure by Percival Everett.
Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
You know what I mean.
When I read the book, I felt the material deep in my bones. And so I knew almost immediately that I wanted to adapt it.
I just want to rub their noses in it.
It's dealing with some super relevant, age-old themes, along with a deep thread of comedy and irony running through it.
We sold your book.
No.
As soon as I met Cord, it was clear that he understood the spirit of the novel.
It's a joke.
The most lucrative joke you've ever told.
He took my material and made it his own.
Is this based on your actual life?
Yeah, you think some college boy can come up with that?
No, I don't.
There's something delightful in the simplicity of this story and what it's actually trying to comment on.
I thought it was really funny and rooted in realness.
I am thrilled to read a BIPOC man harmed by our carceral state.
It explores identity, culture, race, family in a way that I think is really interesting.
People want to love you, Monk. You should let them love all of you.
What Cord has made here is a fine piece of art.
Once the screen goes dark, the lobby will be filled with conversation about this film.
Yes!
The dumber I behave, the richer I get.
There's levity, but also an element of surprise. That, to me, is really keeping with the essence of the book.
And American Fiction has been nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Original Score, with acting nods for Sterling K. Brown and Jeffrey Wright. And we're joined by another member of the star-studded cast today, actress Erika Alexander, who plays Coraline, the main character and Monk's neighbor and love interest. Thank you for joining us today, Erika. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, beautiful Karen. I appreciate being here. I'm very excited.
Good to see you. Now, what interested you in taking the role of Coraline?
You know what? Frankly, it was offered to me. I've been in the business now. This year will be 40 years. And I've had really wonderful times where the filmmaker wanted me to portray a certain role, and that goes for Get Out and many other things. But on this, I was contacted directly from production that Cord Jefferson wanted to talk to me about this role, and I was delighted. He had a great background as a writer, from writing on Succession to winning the Emmy with Damon Lindelof for Watchmen. And then I got a chance to talk to him and see the script, and it was an immediate yes. Plus Jeffrey Wright, to act with Jeffrey Wright.
Yes.
That's a yes.
What a pleasure to act with Jeffrey Wright. You know, this film is about a satirical portrayal of the Black community. Have you experienced this in the television and film industry? And if so, how has it influenced your career in terms of some of the roles that you've decided to take?
I think you can't find anyone who works as a person of color, specifically Black, that can't speak to the stereotypical storytelling tropes that seem to plague us. Because of our unique history here in America, we've had to deal with all sorts of rewriting of not only who we are, but also gaining a certain type of humanity. And this is about that. This is about the things that endure versus the things that are more true to us overall. And he found a satirical way into it. It's a satire. It is very funny, but it's also very poignant. It's about a family who's dealing with real problems, and it's found its audience. It really, word of mouth has done tremendous things for it. And so we're grateful to the audience who has gone and then told a friend, but they're laughing about the truth in it.
Yes.
But also vibing to the fact that they feel seen.
It was very funny indeed, and so true. It really struck a chord. You know, you've kind of tackled this issue of stereotypes head on by elevating underrepresented voices in the industry through a company that you co-founded. It's called Color Firm Media. What's the mission of your company?
Well, we call ourselves the Motown of film, television, and tech. Our mission is to change the face of media. We want to rebrand Blackness. So to that point, we do a lot of collaborations and partnerships to gain some kind of way to tell news stories for marginalized groups. It's not just about race and or gender. It's also about age. It's about demographic. There's many ways that you can be marginalized, and we try to address those issues and bring new storytellers and collaborators and creators to the fore and get them the support they need to be successful.
Now, you produced Good Trouble, that was about civil rights activists and Congressman John Lewis. It won an NAACP Image Award for Best Documentary, along with 3 Emmy nominations. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, a fabulous film.
Yes. It was a beautiful thing. I did a lot of campaigning in 2008 and 7. Specifically for Hillary Clinton, and I met a lot of the people who campaigned with and for her throughout the years, including in 2015 and 16. John Lewis was one of them. We were contacted by people who knew him in his office, and they inquired whether Color Farm wanted to be involved in a documentary. That was again, quick yes. And we partnered with Dawn Porter. The great Dawn Porter is one of the best documentarians we have working in America. And that's Good Trouble. John Lewis, Good Trouble. We got it done just before he got diagnosed. And
I really enjoyed it. I particularly loved the scene, seeing him dance in his congressional office that you included. It showed a different side of Congressman Lewis. Now, your next documentary is on actress Diahann Carroll. Why did you choose her?
Diahann Carroll is an icon. I don't think she's ever gotten the flowers or the attention she deserves. There's a lot of women that have gone through the American sort of press mill and have been missed. And we want to tell a fuller story of that. So we've partnered with her daughter, Suzanne Kay, and Suzanne Rostock, their co-directors. And we're going to make a real rockin' documentary off of this. And it's going to be a personal thread through it, because there's a lot of things we don't know about the great Diahann Carroll and her relationship with Sidney Poitier, obviously the significance of why she matters at all. She's one of our very first American movie stars that looked, as a Black woman.
She is a star. She is a star in the true Hollywood sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Erica, we're so lucky, you're going to be bringing your rich experience to our neighborhood, the Greater Roxbury Arts and Cultural Center, with a future home in Nubian Square. They've added you've agreed to be on their advisory council. How are you going to work with that organization?
Well, we're working with Tanisha Nash Laird, with the organization. And we're not only going to help in any way we can, but because the organization is helping to amplify Black Boston, and of course, not just locally, but nationally, we're going to use our expertise at Color Farm, me and my partner, Ben Arnon, in storytelling. And that's one of the ways we'll be collaborating in the future. Obviously, we're partnering with them on the pre-opening programming, supporting storytellers training for Boston's Black and Latinx social justice leaders. We're also in professional development for the city youth in film and television production, and also technical theater and live production. So we're going to be there, and we plan to be on the ground in a very supportive way, but also to help promote the type of innovations that they've been doing all this time and doing so well there in Boston.
Now, many people may not realize American Fiction was not the first time that you spent time here in Boston. You have some other ties to Roxbury. You did some work here early in your career.
Yes. I did the movie Common Ground. Common Ground was a miniseries that I did. It's one of the first miniseries I've ever done. I was in my teenage years, actually, and it was the story of Boston busing and the tumultuous period around it and the effects they had on families, obviously of color, and the Irish and English families, I should say.
That J. Anthony Lucas book, everybody should read it, because it really gives us a good background on what was going on in Boston during the busing period. We can't let you go without mentioning your very popular role as lawyer Maxine Shaw in the hit television show Living Single. That role was the inspiration for many, including Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who said your character inspired her to go into public service work. So how does it feel to know that you had that influence on her?
I love it. It's one of the best compliments you could ever get, obviously. And when people come up to you and say the example and the the goals that are set in their minds when they see you as a representative of what's possible, and because you look like them. That's what happened to me. Certainly, I'm wearing Maxine Shaw's face at least for a little while longer until I age out of it more. But I got that a lot, and Ayanna Pressley and Stacey Abrams and I, with John Lewis, campaigned in 2015 in Atlanta, and we became friends. And this was before that they were in their national jobs, their big jobs now, as the tremendous leaders they always were. And they both told me that I was a blueprint for them. And we call that the Maxine Shaw effect. And so we're very glad and gladdened by, that they'd say that. But the truth is, these people would have been great anyway, but the fact that they can link it to that and that character and the way she looked, her dreads, her dark skin, all that. The best feeling. So also big shout out to Yvette Lee Bowser. It came out of her mind. She created the show for all of us. And so thank you, Yvette Lee, for being the first Max that we needed.
Erica, we're looking forward to seeing you later on the red carpet. Do you have your dress ready?
I do. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot.
We'll be looking for you. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing you in Boston through your work with the GRACC. Thank you so much, Erica, for joining us. And again, American Fiction received 5 nominations at the 96 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Now, multi-Oscar winning costume designer Ruth E. Carter is taking home a local honor. Last fall, she received the Coolidge Award, recognizing her original and outstanding contributions to cinema. The Springfield, Massachusetts native's work has been featured in several Hollywood blockbusters, and our Ed Harding sat down with Ruth E. Carter at the Coolidge Corner Theater.
This is an old theater. Do you like old theaters?
We met Ruth E. Carter.
It's a great place to be nostalgic.
In the majestic Coolidge Theater in Brookline.
It's lived a life.
But, truthfully, she's at home in any theater.
Do you remember the first movie you ever saw in a theater?
Oh, let's see. I think it was Mary Poppins.
At home on any movie set where her costume designs sparkle.
My son, it is your time.
Those designs won her an Oscar for Black Panther. And another for Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Were you surprised?
Of course. I never want to be presumptuous in a situation like that when there's voters involved, and because it can go any way the wind blows.
The first African-American woman to win multiple Oscars in any category.
This profession as an artist, not a fashion, not having paper dolls or Barbie dolls and dressing them and making their clothes. I liked getting into like color palettes and storytelling. That's, I think, where I found my first love.
I read the foreword in your book. Ruth Carter is a storyteller. She uses her craft to elevate a narrative, giving it an entirely richer and more potent delivery.
That's Danai Gurira. She's amazing. And going on these journeys with these incredible actors has been, just a love of a lifetime, because they see you see them, and they embody their characters, and they appreciate a good costume.
She has designed for Spike Lee, did the costumes for Amistad.
Also in your book, you write, I could not only design costumes, but also express the heart and soul of black people, the culture, nuances, my personal experience as a black woman, and the character details I found most interesting. Everybody is a product of their background, I understand that.
Yes, exactly. And going down south with my mother on the Greyhound bus to Virginia, where she was raised, and getting together with grandparents who had a history. As I began to study my own history and the history of African Americans in this country, I started to really connect the stories of my youth with the stories of history.
And it all started in Springfield, a 78 grad of then Springfield Tech.
You've got a star in the Walk of Fame, right? Mm-hmm. You've got a couple of Oscars.
I got it!
And you're getting an award here in the Coolidge Theater. That's not bad. That's the hat trick of success.
Yeah, well, it's really wonderful that my home state of Massachusetts has, brought me in to honor me in this way, in such an old theater. And, it's a place I think that I call home.
Tom Brady was once asked,
which one is your favorite Super Bowl? And he said the next one. So which Which Oscar is your favorite Oscar?
The next one.
Up next, translating a nonfiction work to the big screen, the issues and the challenges filmmaker Ava DuVernay faced with the film Origins. That's when Cityline continues.